What's up, Alphas? It's your boy, Alphas May, looking cute, looking clean, looking sexy, and of course, I'm here with the one, the only Afro Coming 765. How you doing, Dator? How you doing, Dator?
What's going on? You already know. Local neighborhood scumbag here to give the folks their daily dose of dirtbag. Talk about some dragons.
Yeah, some dragons. We got the House of Dragon. Today's a little slow. It's a slow down episode. We just had the war, and we coming back about a year later. How did you feel about the episode, Tor? How any Easter eggs you saw that was interesting before we get into the main show?
Always with the openings, we stayed sourced in old Valeria, and we got the usual blood outpour, but it focused, which symbolically plays out later in the episode, it focused on the crown that was left behind once the blood started flowing out. So just a little one giving you to like the overall theme of the episode. But I thought this was a really good episode pacing wise. Like, we did a lot in the whole war in the Stepstones, and this sort of gave us a step back and sort of put us back at home with the characters we need to pay attention to. I feel like this set it very, like, it placed the spotlight directly back on Daemon, Viserys, Rhaenyra, and Alicent for the most part. Definitely a lot slower than the last episode. I can already see this being some people's least favorite episode so far, but I think this episode did a lot to set up for what the real meat of this story is. But we'll talk about that as we get into the episode. But my overall thoughts, really good cool down episode, setting up for some amazing stuff.
Yes, it's setting up this is a political episode. I like politics and focusing how each country and each region and each place worked. As you know, we see that the Valerians and all them is trying to make moves, and everybody trying to see where they fit in, and you see everybody trying to make moves for positioning. You kind of saw that in the last episode, because the episode starts off with Rhaenyra, of course, going in and meeting suitors. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
That long line of suitors.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. It's a little funny, but you see how everything is trying to...
people trying for what happened there, too.
Yeah, it's a lot of little pieces getting set up and moved around to what they need to be for what's finna happen. So it looks very fun. It was a setup episode. It might not have been the most...
Little Lord Blackwood showed out. Little Lord Blackwood showed out for real.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But like I said, it's a lot going in this episode. A lot of setup. A lot of, like, normally it's the one big thing. Everybody, I know what y'all want to talk about. Let's be honest. You want to talk about the uncle and niece kissing.
Yeah.
And
hey, that good old Targaryen trope.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, the opposite of, like, forced, like, yeah, she made the knight lose his vow.
Yeah, she knocked him down. She was the dragon.
I know what y'all want to talk about.
When the dragon's awake, it's gotta eat, yo. Dragon had to eat.
And we gonna get into that too, because we gotta talk about how Uncle Daemon then took her to the
place to activate the dragon. He's playing the game though. That's what niggas is gonna say what they want. That nigga Daemon is playing the game right now, for real.
Yeah, he up here. He set it up. He was like, "Hey, listen, I'ma set you up. I'ma unleash. You know what I mean? I'ma unleash that I know you have in you."
I know one part that had to be one of your favorites of the episode. Your man Otto got got some karma this episode too.
Yeah, a lot of karma. It ain't nothing like outside of that was really big that I think gonna be big, but I know how y'all feel about it, so I want to get y'all juices flowing before we get in the episode. So, but if you're used to Game of Thrones, you kind of used to them Targaryens doing what they do.
But this is reminiscent of good Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 6. This is reminiscent of that. This is none of
The
that.
one that had the
Season 7,
books
8,
together. The one that actually
yeah,
had
so
books
it's
too.
when they still had a George R. Martin approved roadmap.
Then it went off the rails with something like, "We ain't got nothing else to write."
Yeah, they were like, "We don't have any. All we've got are the spoiler chapters that you guys have." And just so people know, he's dropped all. I think there are like 14 spoiler chapters altogether. Which in a book the size that the Winds of Winter is going to be, 14 spoiler chapters out of a reportedly close to 1,800 page book. What is that? What is 14 spoiler chapters out of an 1,800 page book?
Yeah. So the episode starts with Rhaenyra looking. She's meeting her suitors, and we meet an interesting man named Lord Targaryen. He is spilling about Rhaenyra's grandmother, how he knew her, and how she was exquisite. And Rhaenyra like, was she beauty? She like, miss, that was 50 years ago. She was like, exactly. You are that old, sir. You knew my grandmother.
Yeah. Yep.
Sir,
but also, you notice the connection back to that's some forefather or relative of Beric Dondarrion, which was the Lord of Light, the nigga with the flaming sword in Game of Thrones. Always a tie-in.
Always a tie-in. Like I said, Rhaenyra eats him alive. Now we got little young Blackwood.
Yep, he has Lord Blackwood.
The Blackwoods have a formidable army, so they sent a child because, a lot of them died, apparently. All the
they're descended from the first men, bruh.
Yeah.
They can send a kid.
Yeah, but a lot of the suitable men apparently died at war.
Yeah.
So,
wars are real.
Yeah. So, I think his name is Bracken. He made a joke about it.
And for the people who don't know, the Brackens and the Blackwoods have an extensive feud. Like, we're talking going back to the formation of the Six Kingdoms. Shortly after Aegon was like, this is my shit, them niggas started fighting each other.
Yeah. And Bracken was joking him the whole time. Talking about where are your people and making fun of them because, of course, that family history. And little young Blackwood said, hey, listen, I pulled a sword out. I will deal with you. Rhaenyra actually said, hey, he's kind of funny. I give him that. Out of all y'all suitors, he actually a little funny.
Hey,
but he wasn't funny. Yeah, but he, look, young Blackwood kind of ended him very abruptly. That grown man got took out by the little kid. He got took out by a little kid.
A little kid that's descended from the first men.
Yeah. Hey, he was tough though. That's all you saw was him on the floor.
They're built different up north in Game of Thrones country. They're built real different.
Yeah, this 12-year-old just took out this 25-year-old man.
Hey,
they built different, dog.
That's the same. It don't matter what age you are. A sword's gonna cut through your guts.
Yeah. She is headed home after she cut her trip 2 months short. We see Daemon's dragon. He comes in after winning the war. It's the first time we see him since his banishment in the pilot episode. Rhaenyra is smug seeing her uncle, probably there for the first time in probably a year and 4 years? Probably.
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. It's the first time seeing him in 4 years. So she's smiling. She finally gets to see the uncle. They gave her the necklace and all that. We see they call him now. He goes up there, has a crown on his head, and the people call him the King of the Narrow Sea. And he bows to his brother, and he looks at his brother and says, they call me that, but I know there's one true king. He gave him the more iron to put on the Iron Throne, and he gives him the crown and said, you are the king, as he bent the knee to him. I like the fact that he looked at Otto while he was doing it.
Oh yeah. He was like, yeah, that's check. Let's check, son. You better move some pieces.
Yeah. Ventress hugs Damon, and of course the courts clap. The courts are excited about it. They're clap.
The brothers of the Springtime King are reunited again.
Yeah, they are back, and of course they clap it because again he is a war hero. He took care of an issue that they have been having, so he is a war hero, as we saw in the episode. We also see Ventress is mad at his daughter. He's upset. She didn't ended her trip 2 months early. He's
not doing her part for the realm, yo.
Yeah. We go to Allison offering the gallery to, of course, Damon, and Ventress laugh at the idea that to those who want to actually see something they've seen their whole life, they live here.
I was gonna say, yeah, let me give you a tour around your house. How does that feel? That's like somebody coming up here. Let me show you around your apartment. I'm like, thanks.
Yes, I live here now. You want to see the gallery? I'm like, I was
like
here.
Literally grew up here, like my whole life before you were even born.
Yes, and I was like, so she asked, did he want to see the gallery? They might have, to be fair to her, they might have added some stuff to the gallery.
So the tapestries can change.
Yes, the tapestries change, and we see that she kind of says, I would like to see. Rhaenyra tells Allison, I would like to see. Kind of like that. It's like that old friendship is back after all these years. Kind of like, okay, 4 years we ain't really talked. Homeboy. Yeah, it's been 4 years. We ain't really talked. I'm lonely. You lonely. Allison admitted she's lonely
now.
Yeah. They form a best friends, which I love about this because it makes it mean more. I absolutely love that.
That's a good addition. That's the way you change something from the book to the show that actually works. Because, like I said, in the books, there was such a big age gap that there's no believable way they were friends. But the way they've done this in the show, it's making for a really good dynamic.
Yeah. And the dynamic is Allison. This whole episode, Allison living a life that she feels stuck in, and she continuously means it, while Rhaenyra is trying to do whatever she can to avoid this life.
Yep.
Allison even admits she has a few friends. I have very few friends right now. We are kind of,
and they have that whole moment where you can sort of tell that they sort of wish they were in each other's shoes. Like Rhaenyra sort of wishes she didn't. She already had somebody picked out, so she didn't have to go through all of these suitors. And you see Allison wishing that she could be out and have her choice of suitors instead of knowing she's locked down to old King Viserys.
Yeah. But Rhaenyra does not want to be whatever. She does not want to be just a royal womb. That's a constant. I love that line from the first episode. I can't remember if it was in the book. Like I said, I didn't finish the book. Tori finished all of them. I got to this part.
It was a hearsay conversation, but you didn't actually hearing it from Rhaenyra's mother's mouth is different from hearing it from some lady that was at court or like the wet nurse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
More gravity.
You can tell Rhaenyra doesn't want. She does not want to be a royal womb. That has been from the first episode. It has been established. I will not be just a political token.
But I think this episode sort of shows her seeing how she could maybe get used to that. How she's now seeing the stress of trying to find a husband. Maybe it would be easier if things were a little more laid out.
Yeah. We see Rhaenyra and Daemon speaking in their native tongue of the dragon.
Old Valyrian.
Yeah. Again, Rhaenyra brings up the royal room coming from her mama. Rhaenyra brings up the royal room coming from her mama. She doesn't want that fate. We just established that. And let's be honest, this is a point that get interesting.
Which is crazy because it's the exact fate that Daemon wants for her.
Yeah, let's be honest, bro. We gotta be honest. I said this in my notes. She wants a bad boy. She wants to do forbidden stuff. She is that type of girl who, we walking out in the street at night doing stuff we ain't got no business doing. She that type of girl. Uh,
Oh yeah,
she out
she's
here dressed
definitely
like a.
she's doing key bumps in the nightclub and riding on the motorcycle with no helmet for sure.
She's out here dressing like a homeless dude, going through secret doors that Damon knew about. Again, it goes back to that
Going to
point.
pleasure gardens.
We know for a fact that, listen, the fact that Damon left a letter and told her how to get out of that room secretly, meaning, again, it makes that gallery
Which
tour funny.
yeah, and plus there's another tie-in though, because those are the exact same. The tunnel she used to get out is the exact same way that Tyrion used to leave after he killed his dad in Game of Thrones when he shot him on the toilet.
I look, that's funny. But she see,
Random tie-in. I just had to think about it while we were talking about the scene I heard sneaking out.
But she did, and Damon, like, it goes back to that gallery comment. He knows the secrets of the castle. He knows everything. He knows all the secret doors. He knows all that. So that makes
he was the commander of the Gold Cloaks. It was his job to know everything that was going on in the town for however many years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We see her. She sees people getting it on. She getting a little interested, right?
She
also
she's
sees
that
people
age
doing.
too.
Yeah, I think she's 18 now, right?
Yeah, because how old was she? We're 4 years from when the show started. So if I thought she was like 12 or 13. So because I think we've only got one more episode. We've got one more episode of this actress, and then they switch to the older actress. I do believe. I think episode 5 will be the last episode we get with Millie Alcott as Rhaenyra.
She was 14 because Alicent was 15.
Okay, so yes, she's 18 now. Even though in the books, I think, like I said, they aged her up because in the books she'd be about 15, 16.
Yeah.
So at least she's of legal age. At least Damon's not out here trying to bang under his underage niece. At least it's his of politically correct age niece.
Somebody calls her boy. She's excited for the fact that someone calls her boy, not because she's a boy, but because normally they call her princess and treat her a certain way. Instead, they're like, "Get away from me, bum." And she's like, "Yes."
It's amazing what happens once you hide the hair.
Yes. Even though we're gonna talk about that in a minute. We see Viserys getting bathed. He has scars because he's weak and he's soft.
Yep. You ain't supposed to be on that throne, dog. If it's cutting you up like that, you done lost 2 fingers. You done lost 2 fingers to the throne. What makes you think you should still be sitting on it?
I mean, it's soft. He gotta stop. Hey man, just stand up next to it, bro.
Cersei didn't even lose a finger. She sat on the throne. She didn't even lose a finger, and that bitch was wild.
Hey, let's be honest. Cersei is her. Not in a good way, but she more. I bet they respect her more than they respect me.
Yeah, she's definitely a more commanding ruler than Viserys. That nigga don't even ride dragons. I think. Okay, little sidebar of complete and total speculation. You think it made people think of Viserys as weaker when he decided not to ride another dragon after Balerion died? How he just sort of enshrined his skull instead of getting another dragon. You think that sort of emphasized his weakness to people a little bit?
I think it did, but I also think he admitted he's not a great warrior. He like, my brother Daemon was always the warrior.
Yeah, but the dragons are such an intrinsic part. Like I feel like the dragons are just as much for stature as they are for like combat. You know what I mean?
Maybe no like that's how you know respect him.
That's how you know it. You know a Targaryen has entered the conversation when there's a dragon flying over your head.
Tori, you assuming that a dragon will respect him as a man?
Bro, he used to ride the biggest dragon. He rode Balerion, the Black Dread, literally the biggest dragon on record.
Yeah.
And usually when the dragons die before the riders, they pick a new dragon. Like, they had a dragon stable. They have dragon eggs. Like, he can even start. We've seen how quick dragons grow, so it's not. Oh, what if Viserys couldn't hatch another egg? That's wild. Okay, let's go before we get this could become a speculation episode of just fan theories. We don't want to tell.
Yeah. She sees the coming out. Damon sends her out. She sees that the coming folks don't quite respect her. They have a whole play basically telling her she doesn't have a cock.
Yep.
That's what they said. It was kind of wild, but they were showing. She was like, Damon, like, you gotta show your.
And there wasn't a woman in this play.
It was not one.
Even the women weren't women.
I'm like, they made Rhaenyra ugly, didn't they?
I was about to say they made her look wild.
Well, I said after that, Damon trying to make her a little ruthless. I couldn't figure it out watching, even though I kind of know what he's doing because, like I said, from the show, it's kind of
a very subtle manipulation game that Damon's playing, but he's playing it right. Like, this is all, like I said, these next episodes, especially once we get if what they're saying is true, and episode 5 will be this last episode of this child-looking Rhaenyra. Once you get into her and Laenor's marriage and all that, once they age her up, you'll really see how Damon's manipulation game is super strong.
But at this point, you don't know if he's like trying to make her ruthless,
or if he's just trying to get in her pants.
Yeah, so you're trying to figure it out. My next note is, ooh, she's stealing.
Hey, every rich white girl's got to have a kleptomania phase.
Yeah, and Damon kind of said, she whispered to her, I know you're not used to paying for anything because you don't have to, but you can't. In the common folks, you had to pay. So she threw it at him and ran off. She got her little bad girl phase going on, like I said, on the back of the motorcycle with Tor, going places she ain't got no business. She gets caught by the guard, but then when she gets caught, her hair kind of falls out. He's like, Lady Rhaenyra? And then he was like, and he plays up the game, boy. You won't get away with it next time, boy, and all that. So she gets away. Damon said, you done with the game. The commander also saw Damon too, so he kind of recognized both of them. Even though he didn't snitch, shout out to him for not snitching.
He kept this on. But if he'd have snitched, who's to say Damon doesn't come back with Dark Sister and cut him in half?
But we know him from the guard. He didn't care.
Yeah, most like any gold cloak is finna ride for Damon.
That's what I'm saying. So he wasn't gonna snitch. But it was interesting that the common folks were. We see Alicent gets called by Viserys. She's like, hey, it's late. I'm finna go back to sleep. It's like, no, he really wants you. And my man's stroke game is weak, Tori.
Yeah. Man, Viserys is a weak king and a weak talk. That's just a bad combo.
Got all these scars on him. I'm like, bro,
I was gonna say, missing 2 fingers, covered in scars and random open wounds from sitting on a mountain of swords all day. And then on top of that, nigga got no rhythm in the sheet. None.
Tori, when you see a scarred up man, he gotta be a savage, right? Nah, he just
and then you look at this nigga and you're like, he got that scar from sitting on his ass. Bruh.
Yeah. We see this is what the show considers. We see Rhaenyra. She's getting treated by the women in the pleasure hall. It's like this is like her first experience. Like, what are they doing? And Damon is circling around her.
She hasn't got to see Flea Bottom all like that. You got to remember Damon though. He was also known as the King of Flea Bottom before he was the King of the Narrow Sea.
Yeah, she's intrigued by the women and what they were doing. She had that little evil smile that young girls.
The mischievous grin that plays across every young girl's mouth when they're 18 years old and see crazy orgies for the first time.
Yo, I wrote, this man Damon got a prostitution problem. He took his niece to a brothel, dog.
Hey, He's playing the game, bruh. He's like, what? He's like, what is a teenage girl hopped up on hormones trying to make a decision about who her fucking husband's gonna be? Need to see gratuitous sex scenes.
Um, I figured it. I
He's
thought it was gonna
playing
be a
the
little.
long game.
Yeah, I thought it would be crazy, but it wasn't. It was like kind of tame.
No,
You
but it
saw,
was very subtle, which I feel like made it
yeah,
a little bit darker. Like
yeah,
the undertones of like, you know what's going on here, but we're
yeah,
not gonna blatantly, overtly. I think that's a little bit more sinister.
yeah. Uh, he teaching his niece bad things. They kiss. While we cut to Allison looking like excited that Viserys is done, so she can go home.
Yep. She's trying to
She
get to
like,
the she's trying to get to that medieval rosebud real quick, yo.
yeah. She was trying to get out of here. Um, and I'm like, when Damon came, I'm like, that's your niece. But again, Otto did offer her to sleep with her brother and be married to her
Like,
brother.
bruh, that's the thing. That
I'm like,
that is not crazy in the Targaryen line. Aegon the Conqueror literally came over with his two sister wives, bro. Like his older sister and his younger sister. He wiped up both of them and then came and took over the world. They each flew in on a dragon and wrecked shop. They conquered
that,
everything but the Dornish marches.
yeah. Damon is like, nah, I can't do it. But he can't leave out. And this was at first I was like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe he's a good guy, but then I realized as the show goes on, this is more manipulation from the scene with his brother
Oh
later on.
yeah.
Like it kind of confirms
Damon
it. But first you're like,
Damon
this
rides
maybe,
he rides the line between you're like, oh, is he just the debonair bad boy anti-hero, or is this nigga the villain?
yeah. So, but you see later on that he plotted this, but he goes away. You like, oh, he has a
They're set
subconscious.
they're setting up the reds. I mean, they're setting up the blacks and the greens a lot earlier in this than I thought, but I think it's to get everybody ready for this massive time skip they're going to do. They're sort of planting seeds early so they don't seem so alien once we get there.
Yeah. And my thought during this period is like, okay, maybe he had a subconscious moment that all of a sudden this is gonna happen. You don't, like I said, we found out later what it was, but he did leave her by herself.
Yeah.
And knowing she has no life experience outside of these castle walls, she even let the thing fall where the little kid can follow her.
But I also
Like,
think that he had faith in her dragon blood, and the fact that like at this point in time, a Targaryen in King's Landing, she could go stab a whole bunch of homeless people. She's gonna be all right as soon as they see silver hair.
especially with Vicious, who said his daddy would have kicked him out, but I'm not my
Yeah,
father, so. Like I said, you see Rhaenyra got a little demon in her that her uncle got. Poor
that,
Sir Christian
that
Cole.
Targaryen crazy.
Poor Sir Christian Cole. She's upset that she couldn't get some of her uncle, so she goes and slams the door. My man has been with her. He is concerned for her, and like, should
He's
I
going in
call
there
her?
trying to be a good friend and console her. She
He's like,
turned
I'm
that
finna
nigga
go
into
get
a
the.
piece of meat,
Yeah, I'm
flooded
finna go
him
get
out.
the. I'm finna go get the doctor. It's gonna be all good. I'm gonna go get the doctor. And everything. She's like, no, come in. Then she takes his helmet. And I'm like, oh Lord. she
Going
doing that
down.
flirting. She doing that flirting thing. She does that. She doing that flirting thing. It's
The
getting bad.
dragon is awake, folks.
Yeah. She grabs his hand. He's slick trying to get out, but she like, nah, you coming over here.
Cause he's the king's guard. They're not allowed to be fucking, yo.
Yeah, it's against their vow. But he also
Yeah.
obliged to her.
Yeah, he is sworn to serve the crown, but I mean,
But he's
I
also
think there were
like her personal guard. So she's supposed to do what? It's such a conflict because it's like my vow of celibacy versus my vow to obey the queen, the heir.
which I mean technically the king's guard vow outweighs it, technically. Because the duty to the king supersedes everything, even heir apparent.
It
But
does,
that
but
nigga's a nigga at the end of the day. If the queen's
yo,
trying to knock you down,
Yo, she sullied that man against his will. Yeah, my next thought was, yo, Vicious gotta stop acting tough, bleeding on this thing. He cannot act tough up here kicking Damon. Like, bro, you ain't tough, bro. We see you ain't got fingers, bro.
Then
Like, if I wanted,
he put the knife to his throat and everything.
yo, Damon didn't even do it, and he was like,
And then
so what if I
he
did it?
played it so cool. He was like, "Yeah, I unsullied her, nigga." Shout out to the unsullied little lingual tie back.
Yo, he put the knife to his neck, and he was like, "Did you do it?" He was like, "Yes, I did it. You ain't gonna do nothing about
That shit hit her with that playing T.
it." And he didn't do nothing because we know how Vicious is. Vicious ain't got
Yeah,
it like that.
But that's Viserys's thing. At the end of the day, he really loves Daemon. It's his little
Mm.
brother. You know what I mean? But Daemon is a demonic ass nigga.
But we see the
He wants
opposite.
to.
Yeah, we see
He
the
is good at
opposite.
fight.
Yeah, we see the opposite approach from how Damon just willingly admitted it versus how Rhaenyra
Yeah.
like made
Even
this
though
vow.
he willingly lied, even though it would have behooved him from the outside perspective to tell the truth and be like, "I didn't do it." He was like, "Yeah, I did it,"
Yeah, and
just because he
Allison
knew it
went.
was going to set off his brother,
Yeah, Allison went. I mean, Rhaenyra was talking
and
to
also
Allison there.
set up, and it'll also set up Otto, as you're about to tell us.
Yeah. Rhaenyra also had a conversation with Allison, and Allison is speaking to her, and she promised her that she did nothing with him on her mother, and then after that, she tells him he never touched me after she made this vow, which I'm like, you lie. He for sure touched you. And
It's
then
that Targaryen, bro.
somehow Allison got the idea that she was never sullied. And I'm like, she never told you
She
that now.
still
You
had
just
her
took that on your
maidenhead.
yeah, like she was like, I'm like, she never told you that. She said she never did nothing with Damon. She never said she had her maidenhood. I don't know where Allison got that idea from when she told
Yeah.
Mistress that.
Saying saying that she didn't fuck her uncle isn't saying that she didn't fuck.
Know what I'm saying? And she just took it. She just completely took it. I'm like, I look back, I had to rewind it and see. I'm like, she never told you this. She just said I didn't have it with him.
Like I
I
said,
don't know.
they're setting up the Black and Green War really early, but we're getting there, folks.
Yeah. I don't like I said, I don't know where he got that. By the way, in this scene, you see Damon is trying to get Rhaenyra marry her to me. She's already been sullied. So he's trying to play that game.
Yeah.
We can do the throne and make it strong again. Then
It
basically
is the
Vicious,
Targaryen way.
yeah. And then apparently Vicious was starting to figure out that everybody been trying to play him. Finally, it took you.
Yeah, he's finally figuring out that niggas was playing him for the fool.
Yeah, he is playing me. He slowly figured out. Later, we're gonna figure out in a minute that what he gonna figure out about Otto because he start putting stuff together too.
Otto slick smooth played him the worst.
Yeah. Um, like I said,
He got his daughter on the throne.
Rhaenyra is a feminist. When she talked to her father, we found out she's a feminist and she is not a maiden. She like, if I was a man, I could go through and sleep with everybody in this.
He's like, it wouldn't be no big deal. Men are allowed to have bastards all over the place.
Yeah. He requires her to marry her cousin, Laenor Valerian, so both houses will be stronger, the dragons and the navy. He also fixes beef with Lord Corlys.
And at least Laenor's a dragon rider, so he's got that going for him.
Yeah. Also, it fixed the beef with Lord Corlys.
Yeah, because they got scared when he was like, "I'm gonna go marry my daughter off to the Sea Lords of Bravos," and they're like, "Wait, that would cause a very unfair power balance. Like we'd lose our whole coast if you did that."
Yeah. She said, "Who told you that?" She said, "Someone told me. Somebody to spy." You see Rhaenyra's face change. By the way, before this, Allison,
that dragon look. I call that the dragon look.
Yeah, she said, "Hold up, somebody told you this?" She figured out it's Otto because who else had something to gain? So she sets Otto up. She like, hey, listen, I
Oh,
will
they get
marry
to
him. She like,
if
this
you
man.
if you get this nigga up out of here.
Yeah. And the way she presented it to him is that this man literally sent somebody to spy on me, and he sent somebody to spy on Damon to ruin our names every chance. Who would do that that's loyal to you?
I
Who would
mean, you
send?
can't. How you argue with that?
And he was like, he did send somebody to watch every time my brother do something. He's the one that presented to me.
Yeah, anytime. From the air for a day speech to him allegedly knocking down my daughter. It's always why is it always this nigga that sees what's going on? How
and
you
somebody's
always there?
and how you find out my daughter was doing this? Why do you have spies? He even asked him that even before that they had this
Yeah,
conversation.
because
He was
there's
yelling at him.
not a there's not, that's the thing. There's not an established Lord of Whispers on the council at this point in time. So
Yeah,
there's
so
no
he's
like actual spy master, really. I don't think.
yeah, and he not supposed to do it because he's the right hand. So
I was
he's
gonna
not
say he's
supposed
the
to do.
hand of the king. These are the seats on the council are specific for a reason. If he wanted you to be the Lord of Whispers, you wouldn't be the king's hand.
Yeah. By the way, I skipped over this, but I want to go back to it. Alicent kind of dissed the Targaryens and just like with full disrespect.
Yeah.
Like you Targaryens is known to just sleep around with your family. I'm like, yo, chill, calm down.
I mean, hey,
It's
at this
true.
point in time, though, the Targaryens have results on their side, though. They're like, yeah, our we sleep with our family, but we sure as hell conquered all you guys.
Yeah. Um, as I said, we all hate Otto. Again, so we see Otto. He loses his job here. Viserys hits him with, when my father came back and won, you was by his side, but all of a sudden you got an upgrade. And then 5 days later, my father seems to have passed away.
Did you
And you
poison my
seem to,
dad, bro?
yeah, he was saying, why is it such a coincidence? It's basically who he is Putin. Like all of a sudden, you all of a sudden rise to the top when all of a sudden miraculously somebody got poisoned and died. You somehow,
Yeah.
if y'all don't know the story of Vladimir Putin, just look it up. People got drunk. He set them up, and he was. It's a deep story, but it's
And
about
now he's
Jimmy
riding
Carter.
around bears, shirtless in Russia.
Yeah. He was part of that super killer agency. Putin was so.
The Spetsnaz.
So he asked him questions, and then when my wife died, you're the one who suggested the idea, and then all of a sudden your daughter is the only person to come to me randomly while I'm grieving. It
Yeah.
seems very weird. Not only that, you spy on my daughter and my brother at every chance to ruin their name and make me upset with them. You you set me up. Your daughter is now my wife after you told me, you gave me hints that
Did we lose him?
hey Tori, if I go
Oh,
out, you can talk because it's still up, right? It's the stream's still
no,
up.
I was about to say you were out for a second, but you're back.
Yeah, but
Right
like,
as I started to talk, you came back.
oh yeah. So like I said, the stream. If I go out now with this set up, you can still talk and it still be going.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, even though I'm on the opposite side now, I guess I'm not the lead anymore. But like you can, yeah, you can talk if I ain't done. And like he start realizing like everything around you seem to be coincidence.
You just happen to be there every time.
Yeah. So he
Sometimes a
basically,
coincidence isn't a coincidence.
yeah. So he hits him with this. He takes it off his chest, the little emblem to say he's the right hand man. He's the king's hand.
Took the
And
pen.
yeah, he took the pen from him and told him, "Listen, you have done you groomed me as a king. You've been here the whole way. The country and me can't repay you, but I can't trust you anymore. You got your own ambitions now. Now your daughter's the queen. I know you got ambitions now. Your grandson is up to be the king. Your judgment is what he should have did anyway. We talk about the
Yeah,
EVPs and things. Once your grandson is about to, it seems like all your wants will be for your grandson to rule. That makes perfect sense. It's not even out the
yeah. I was
realm of
supposed to say
possibility.
that tracks.
Yeah. We end the episode with Rhaenyra being the best king, but we found out Vicious don't quite trust anymore. He sent that
Uh
tea,
huh.
and she
Yeah,
looked at it. She
that
like,
plan T.
she that look at it. She's like, you need to take this to take care of your problem. And she looked at, she like,
Gotta make sure there ain't no baby in there.
yeah. So she was like, hey, she gave that look like, yeah, I probably need to take that.
Yeah,
I probably,
maybe.
I probably do
I'm,
need that. I have no experience with none of this, and condoms wasn't around back then, so I probably need to
yeah.
take it. Which means Vicious don't trust her. He like, yeah, you did something. You got that
He's like,
dragon in you.
I was gonna say, I know what that white hair does.
They didn't do it for me because, like I said, my stroke game
But
weak. But
man, it's like the tea of the evening something. That's what it's called. But that's just, he was like, just in case I got a little nephew grandson in the oven that I don't know about.
what's that? BMT, my guy, business minded talk. If y'all enjoy, man, he makes amazing content. Have great discussions on his podcast. Go check him out. Business minded talk. Shout out to my guy BMT, man. He got good content. Yeah, that guy, man. The conversation they be having on his channel is amazing. Like they just have like deep conversation. Got lawyers and a bunch of like highly intelligent people and some people that have different conversations from different realms, different ideas and stuff like that. It's an amazing channel. We get the episode 5 preview. Yeah, man. We just give them reviews. We do Man Cave tomorrow. That's gonna be amazing. We talk about mental health. It was a good episode. It's not gonna be live though. It's gonna be recorded, but it's gonna have a premiere so everybody can like interact with it. Come out about 3:30. We have an episode 5 preview. We get a royal wedding. It's the second Ages of Dragons. We get an all-out war. Seems to be happening. People are fighting, and Otto is still yelling at Alicent to make sure Aegon is king. Otto is a snake,
Yeah.
even after he got fired.
He trying to secure the bag by any means necessary.
He is still being a snake. But overall, how do y'all feel about this episode, Tori? How did you feel about the cousin and the nephew niece family love that's going on in Game of Thrones? We back.
I think
This Game of
I
Thrones
think it
officially now.
definitely, as far as Targaryens go, the logic tracks. They are creatures of habit. Family inbreeding is the Targaryen way, and if there are two Targaryens in the same vicinity of each other, chances are they're probably gonna get it on. But I thought this was a super good setup episode for like the problems that are about to come at large. It was a good, like I said, it was a good spot to recenter everything. Sort of, we got the little look away. You got to see what was happening in the Stepstones. You got to see the heavy fighting with the Crab Lord and Daemon's chivalry, and got to see sea smoke flying and clean stuff up. But I thought this was a good staging episode for sort of resetting the focus of this becoming a lot more political now. Like we're really going to start to, because like I said, if we've got one more episode, if episode 5 is going to be our last episode with the Alcott girl as Rhaenyra before we get the age up, then this next episode will be the episode that sets us up for the wider Dance of Dragons as whole, like how we're going to get to this whole Targaryen civil war. So I thought this was a really good staging episode. It sort of brings everything back, refocuses us on what we need to be paying attention to without giving us the wider world at large to distract us. So overall, 8 out of 10 on the episode.
That's a really good episode. Let us know y'all thoughts. Comment below, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all those things. we getting the channel back to what it changes all the time. We go back to what we're interested in, and now we're interested in TV and stuff like that. It's more of a positive place where we don't have to focus on the real world. Even though we are getting back on what's new 99 news, a bunch of stuff like that. It's gonna be a fun time. We getting back and stuff.
We got a
Make it
variety of content for the folks.
Yeah, it's focused on entertainment and television and reviews of everything. Y'all see all the shows. We put them down at the bottom so you can see what we have on what day. Shout out to the Blur Cartel boys and everybody else, man. They be killing it. Shout out to BMT and everybody. Shout out to Tori for always being here with me. Always down to talk about some dragons, some wrestling. He ain't been here for She-Hulk and other shows, but shout out to him for
Yeah,
being Meg.
I couldn't get with She-Hulk. I just couldn't do it.
I
I'm a
feel you.
sexist. Sue me. Not really, folks. I'm not actually a sexist. I just didn't care for the show. I'm sorry.
It's this scumbag game. Tori, where can they find you before we get off?
AfroComedy765 on all platforms. I'm probably there having some kind of flagrant hot take. Of course, here on Overall 99 Media with Zelmay and all the other people that make this ridiculous content wheel go round. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that jazz.
Yeah. You can find me at 99 underscore Zelmay on Instagram and Twitter, or Zelmay underscore 99. That's my account. I probably gonna start using more. I ain't did it yet, but you can find me there. All my stuff in the link tree. You click the link tree, you can find my podcast merch, my 2 books I put out, all that stuff from when I did. I've lived a very interesting life, so it's kind of fun to let y'all go through all this old stuff I used to do and how I managed a lot of different things and do the things. So it's fun. But I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Tori one more time. Shout out to my guy BMT. Everybody that watch, I appreciate y'all. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe button, and we are out.